Good day everyone! For today's video, we will discuss about The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. About the author. Robert Frost was born on March 26, 1874 in San Francisco, California. He spent the first 11 years of his life there until his journalist father, William Prescott Frost Jr., died of tuberculosis. Following his father's passing, Frost moved with his mother and sister, Jeannie, to the town of Lawrence, Massachusetts. They moved in with his grandparents and Frost attended Lawrence High School, where he met his future love and wife, Eleanor White, who was his co-valedictorian when they graduated in 1892. In 1912, Frost and Eleanor decided to sell the farm in New Hampshire and move the family to England, where they hoped there would be more publishers willing to take a chance on new poets. Within just a few months, Frost, now 38, found a publisher who would print his first book of poems, A Boy's Will, followed by North of Boston a year later. It was at this time that Frost met fellow poets Ezra Pound and Edward Thomas, two men who would affect his life in significant ways. Ikinasal si Frost at Eleanor noong 1895 pero hindi naging madali ang buhay nila pagtapos nito dahil ang hanap buhay lamang nila noon ay pagtuturo sa eskwelahan at pagsasaka. Lumipas ang ilang taon, nagkaroon sila ng 6 na anak, sina Elliot, Leslie, Carol, Irma, Marjorie at Eleanor. Pero 2 rito ang namatay. Ang panganay na lalaki na si Elliot na namatay dahil sa kolera at ang bunsong babae na si Eleanor na namatay ilang linggo lang pagkatapos nito ay panganak. Ipinagpatuloy ni Frost ang pagpasok sa kolehiyo sa Harvard University pero matapos din ang 2 taon, umalis din siya rito at umuwi sa kanyang pamilya. Lumipat si Frost kasama ang pamilya niya noong 1900s sa isang farm malapit sa Derry, New Hampshire na pagmamay-ari ng lolo ni Frost. Dito nagsimula silang mag-poultry farming pero hindi rin ito naging successful. Kasabay ng poultry farming, hindi pa rin tumigil si Frost sa pagsusulat niya ng tula kahit na hindi masyadong nagpakita ng interes ang mga publishing outlets sa mga gawa niya. Lumipas ang ilang taon, unti-unti nang napanghihinaan ng loob si Frost. Dahil inisip niya malapit na siya mag 40 years old, pero wala pa rin siyang libro ng mga tulang gawa niya na naipapublish at sa iilan at piling magazine pa lamang siya nakikita. Pero hindi tumigil si Frost. Noong 1911, naging sa kanila na ang farm at tinitirhan nila sa New Hampshire. Ngunit, ibinenta rin nila ito dahil napagdesisyonan nilang lumipat sa London, England, 1912, sa paniniwalang mas madaming opportunity ang nagiintay sa career ni Frost doon sa pagsusulat. Hindi nga sila nagkamali dahil nung lumipat sila sa London, marami ngang publishers ang mas may interes sa mga baguhang manunulat kagaya niya. Lumipas ang 1 taon at naipublish niya rin ang una niyang libro na A Boy's Will at sumunod naman ang North of Boston. Dito niya rin nakilala ang iba pang manunulat na si Ezra Pound na isang American poet at critic at Edward Thomas na isang British poet at novelist. The poem A Boy's Will thematically associate with rural life, nature, philosophy, and individuality. Pound and Thomas were the first to review his work in a favorable light as well as provide significant encouragement. Frost credited Thomas' long walks over the English landscape as the inspiration for one of his most famous poems, The Road Not Taken. Apparently, Thomas' indecision and regret regarding what paths to take inspired Frost's work. The time Frost spent in England was one of the most significant periods in his life, but it was short-lived. Shortly after World War I broke out, in August 1914, Frost and Eleanor were forced to return to America. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down as fast as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no steps had trodden black oak. I kept the first for another day. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Some were ages and ages. Hence, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and has made all the difference. In the poem, The Road Not Taken, the road symbolizes our choices in life. It is because life is full of choices, and the choices we make define the whole course of our lives. Kaya habang nabubuhay pa tayo ay masaya dapat piliin natin ng tama at seryosohin ang bawat desisyon na gagawin natin. Dahil hindi natin alam kung ano ang maging kinahihinatnan ng desisyon na gagawin natin. At dahil sa mga choices na nagawa natin, nakaka-discover tayo ng mga bago at nagkakaroon ng pagbabago ang ating buhay. Title: The poem is entitled The Road Not Taken because the poem focuses on the road not taken rather than the road taken. Subject: Making choices in our life. Persona: The poem is in the first person point of view. The speaker in the poem is a very complicated and mysterious man. Structure: The poem consists of 4 stanzas with 5 lines.
A rhyme scheme is the pattern of rhymes at the end of each line of a poem. So as you can see on the first line in first stanza, the word at the end of the first line is wood, and we can mark it as letter A. Next is the third line. The word at the end of it is stood. So the wood and stood have the same end rhymes. So we can also mark it as letter A. Then in the fourth line, the word at the end of it is could. So would, stood, and could have the same end rhymes. That's why we can also have letter A for the fourth line. So for the letter A, we have the sound ud. So next, look at the second line. The word at the end of the second line is boat. So it is no longer the same end rhymes as of would, stood, and could. So we can mark it as letter B. And last one, look at the last line. The word at the end of it is undergrowth. So both and undergrowth has the same end rhymes. So we can also mark it as letter B. And for the letter B, we have the sound D. So all in all, the rhyme scheme of the poetry is AB, AAB. And if we notice, it is the same all throughout the poem. Imagery is a word in the poem that touches the reader's 5 senses. So this poetry has used images of the sense of sight. Let's take a look at the example. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood. It is in the sense of sight. So the author has created visual images in our mind so that we can visualize yellow wood as a forest with yellow leaves. So in our tone, this poem tackles about the decisions in life. That's why it has a serious tone. It doesn't have an optimistic outlook. So in our word choice, the author used a very simple and familiar words so that his readers can easily understand his poem and what is his poem all about. In poetry or poem, it has figures of speech. So in this poem, we have the assonance and personification. So when we are talking of assonance is a repetition of identical or similar vowel sound in a series of words, phrases, and syllables. So our example here is the line, two roads diverge in a yellow wood. The words two, roads, yellow, and wood are identical sound to the vowel O. Then the second one is personification. It is a type of figures of speech which we are giving attribute of a person to an inanimate object or non-living things. And our example here is, because it was grassy and wanted wear, as if the roads is human and that it wants to wear and tear. So Robert Frost wants to tell the readers that the reality of life is full of choices. So in each difficult situation that comes one by one, it can really happen in our lives that we have to choose one and leave the other choices because we cannot take it both. So this poem teaches us to be ourselves, take risks, and be wise in every decision we make in life. Because when you listen to what you feel or think is right, your decision to choose, no matter what the outcome will be, you will be not regret it because this is the one you chose. We cannot remove the fact that when we are not satisfied with the outcome, we will ask ourselves, what if it is not my choice? It is conventional because it is a part of our nature as human beings. So in our overall impression, some choices in life might seem to be the best one, but instead it is the worst among the choices. So we may have a few options at each of these moments of decisions, but ultimately, we didn't really know where each choice would take us, just as the speaker cannot see where the roads lead. So we must make the decisions wisely, and that decisions must be taken independently, without fearing its consequences, as it is what makes all the difference.
That's it for today's video. See you next time. Goodbye!